This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Sentence slammed. A Nova Scotia man who lost 3 loved ones in a high-speed crash speaks out over the driver's sentence.
Stories scrapped. A Dartmouth developer must spend $1 million to tear down 2 illegally constructed floors.
And beyond the workplace, how occupational therapists are filling critical gaps in mental health and primary care.
Temperatures tumbling tonight. We'll see the showers changing back to snow just in time for the morning commute. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. A Nova Scotia man is speaking out about the sentence a driver received in a crash that killed 3 of his loved ones.
Adam Gabriel lost his wife, a grandson, and his daughter's partner in the October 2023 crash. Gabriel's daughter also suffered serious injuries. The CBC's Richard Woodbury has the story.
We call him Little Squishy Face. He was just brought smiles to everybody, and now he's gone.
Adam Gabriel's home is filled with mementos of just what he's lost in his life, all the result of a tragic October 2023 car crash. On a rainy, dark night, Gabriel's wife Amanda was returning home to Spring Hill with their daughter, grandson, and daughter's partner. They were traveling on a secondary road in Amherst with a speed limit of 70 kilometers per hour. As they went to make a left-hand turn to head toward the Trans-Canada Highway, a vehicle passed them on the solid line. It was going an estimated 149 kilometers per hour and T-boned them. Gabriel rushed to the crash scene where he had to identify his loved ones and also come face-to-face with the driver of the other vehicle.
And all I see when I close my eyes is Buddy getting out of the ambulance. Jump down, big stretch and smile. That's all I see. I don't sleep very well.
In December, driver Tyler Strong pleaded guilty to 3 counts of dangerous driving causing death and 2 counts of dangerous driving causing bodily harm. He was given a 4.5-year prison sentence. Gabriel's daughter suffered serious injuries in the crash and has not recovered fully.
I'm not vengeful, but he should suffer like they suffered. And Sarah, they took everything from her. Her son, her mother, and her man all in one swoop.
The Gabriel family moved as a result of the crash. He says between family memories and seeing Strong in town before the guilty plea, they felt they had no choice but to leave town.
Life just stops for us. It still hasn't really started again. Everybody gives you advice. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. Shut up, you don't know. There's no book for this. And everybody that says it has not been through something like this. It don't get better. You just got to learn to live with it, really.
In reaching the sentencing decision, the judge referenced a concept known as the sad life principle. It said Strong had a troubled upbringing, but was trying to make a better life for himself, so that warranted some restraint in the sentence. This is of little comfort to Gabriel.
Well, we all got hard lives. That gives him no right to do what he did.
The sentencing decision also said pleading guilty saved people from attending a weeks-long trial. But Gabriel notes that it took more than 2 years for Strong to reach that plea. Gabriel says he spoke with CBC News in the hopes no other family has to go through what they have gone through. Richard Woodbury, CBC News, Oxford.
The search continues today for a missing ice fisherman in Annapolis County. 2 men, ages 73 and 77, were reported missing Tuesday night near Littlebrook Lane in Belle Isle after they failed to return from ice fishing. One of the missing men was found dead on Wednesday afternoon. Police are asking people to avoid the search area and stay off the ice.
A Dartmouth developer must rip out 2 stories of a building the Halifax municipality says were built illegally. Councillors say accepting the floors would create a dangerous precedent, and there was no way to use them for affordable housing. Haley Ryan reports.
As multiple housing developments rise in this growing area of Dartmouth, one project is shrinking. This week, Halifax Council decided the top 2 floors of 169 Wise Road must come off. Municipal staff say the stories were added illegally.
The build now apologized later. This isn't a way to run a city.
Zagros Nova Home Development got a permit for a 9-story mixed-use building on the site more than 3 years ago. Recent planning changes would have allowed 10 stories with the building's design, but the developer went to 12 stories without permission. The area councillor says he does not believe this was done on purpose, but it is a case of poor judgment and bad advice.
Now, that's not an excuse. You still went ahead and started building without a valid permit. And that's really hard to look past.
Other councillors said it is hard to believe the developer or their consultants misunderstood the rules to this extent.
This is, to me, so blatant. It's a no-brainer. I'm not supporting it.
Municipal staff said planning rules are not meant to be disciplinary, so there was no way for Halifax to get a large fee from the developer or use the floors for affordable housing.
As much as I'd like to find a way around it, I haven't been able to.
Neighbor Stephanie Miller says she is left with mixed feelings after years of issues with the development.
We want to see some repercussions, but also the neighborhood's been dealing with this for a long time, and we really just want it to be over.
Last summer, she says a scaffolding lift from the building fell onto the solar panels on her roof and into the driveway.
And did it come through these wooden... It did, yeah. You can see the new ones. Yeah.
The deconstruction is expected to take about 9 months and cost the developer about $1 million. A plan says there will be full containment with scaffolding and mesh netting, vibration monitoring, and daily inspections. Miller says she remains skeptical.
Are we going to have to be worried about concrete falling on our house during demolition? This is not a developer that I would trust with an unprecedented demolition project.
The matter is also before the courts, which will decide if a fine should be issued. Haley Ryan, CBC News, Dartmouth.
A stop work order has been issued against the Nova Scotia Firefighter School. It is the second such order in less than 2 years. The order was issued March 6th and followed a provincial inspection that identified several safety concerns. The fire school says it is working to address the issues. It told CBC News it's not currently operating any firefighting training courses.
Nova Scotia Health says all surgeries will resume at the VG Hospital complex tomorrow. It comes a week after a transformer malfunctioned and knocked out the power. Nova Scotia Health tells CBC the transformer was original to the building and was installed in 1967. But the health authority says it had no concerns about the condition of the equipment. A temporary transformer has been installed, but both will have to be replaced this year. And here to talk weather now is Ryan Snoddon.
Yes, definitely some warmer temperatures.
Yeah, mild and the wet weather, but temperatures are going to crash overnight tonight into Friday morning, and that will make for some very slick driving conditions and icy surfaces on untreated walkways and sidewalks. And have a look, there are the showers and our mild temperatures tonight. Cold front coming through, the wind shift to northwest, and so we go from, yes, the shower activity over to a brief period of freezing rain, ice pellets, and then finally over to snow. Watch the timeline here. So as we move into Friday morning around 5, 6 a.m., we'll have already tapered off for the western areas. We'll still be into the snow and ice pellet mix for central towards eastern areas. Cape Breton just getting into the mix. And then by mid-morning, most of the mainland will have cleared, but note the temperatures well below the freezing mark. So icy again is the name of the game here. And then this will all clear out through Friday afternoon. We've got another system that we're tracking as we work our way into Saturday. More snow on the way. We'll talk about that coming up.
All right, Stay tuned. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. We're continuing to learn where funding is being restored after certain sectors were first hit by cuts in the Nova Scotia budget. But as Michael Gorman explains, where the money is flowing is not as straightforward as it may seem.
Premier Tim Houston's announcement of reverse budget reductions includes the restoration of some grants and also a backtrack on some other planned cuts. Notably, the 3% budget cut for salaries across the public sector will not be applied to nursing homes this year. Although the Seniors and Long-Term Care Minister says she believes that cut could have been managed through retirements and attrition without affecting frontline services, the change is intended to reflect concerns the government heard from the public. Opposition leaders say this proves the government is making changes based on politics rather than what's best for the budget. $16 million was restored for a meal delivery program, and funding was also put back for enhanced adult day programs and disability support facilities. Cuts to scholarships and some learning programs for Mi'kmaq and African Nova Scotian people were reversed as part of the Premier's announcement. The grant for special needs-related dental costs and bus passes was restored, as was $1.8 million for Autism Nova Scotia. The list of restored funding does not directly line up with the list of grants provided the day after the budget was tabled. The Premier says in trying to decide where to restore funding, decisions were based on addressing cuts that would mitigate harm. One area where cuts were not reversed is arts and culture, and protests continued during the Premier's announcement this week. Houston has said that while he values the sector, difficult decisions had to be made to contend with the province's financial situation. Michael Gorman, CBC News at Province House.
Growth and Development Minister Colton LeBlanc says he's bullish on the potential for new federal defense spending in this province. He says maintenance work for the Eastern Fleet of new submarines alone would create hundreds of jobs.
I've personally had a number of meetings to reinforce that, including with Minister Fraser, to demonstrate what we're doing. We've had meetings with top brass from the Canadian Armed Forces. I met with Vice Admiral Topshee, Commander of the Navy, on a number of occasions, who has expressed that Nova Scotia's cracked the code and that we are doing things right, that we are ready.
LeBlanc says the province has a long military history, a point he makes when he talks with his federal counterparts.
Acadia University has laid off some employees as it attempts to grapple with financial challenges. In total, 31 positions have been affected. Those roles eliminated were in several departments and include a mix of unionized and non-unionized positions in administrative and service areas. A member of the executive for the Faculty Association said no academic programs or faculty members are affected, but says it was an emotional day on campus.
I struggled not to cry. It's very difficult. Acadia is a small community, right? Because we're a small community, we know everybody. We make connections. Faculty and staff make connections. We are friends with staff and other faculty on campus, and so we see the impact directly.
The student union says a support center for international students was affected, as well as counselors. When you think of occupational therapy, you might picture someone who gets people back to the workplace.
But they can and are able to do a lot more for clients. Alex Guy has that story.
2 years ago, when Amanda Wells reached a low point, she called 211 looking for help with her mental health. She was battling with symptoms of depression, anxiety, and grief that made her day-to-day life unmanageable. 3 months after that initial call, she was matched with an occupational therapist as part of her care plan. He helped work with her to get her back to living her life how she wanted.
I'm a lot harder on myself than I need to be, and that can look different for everybody. So it was, in a sense, of more learning to be kinder to myself.
Chris McWilliam is her occupational therapist. His sessions with Wells started with small goals, things like self-care and making one meal a day.
You help people do what they want, need, or have to do in life while living with a mental illness or struggling with their mental illness.
Ali Picard-Tatry is an occupational therapist and the advocacy committee chair for the Nova Scotia Society of Occupational Therapists. She says healthcare providers like these are underutilized in primary care clinics, and there's a lot of gaps they could help fill. This would allow the healthcare workers to create a continuity of care rather than only being available in crisis, and concerns could be addressed faster.
Being able to do a mental health assessment with someone and help direct them where they need to go within the greater system, even if it's not within primary care. And then it also provides that space for our family doctors, our nurse practitioners to be providing that medical-based care that they need. We have all of these disciplines who can meet that need in the primary care clinics.
Wells is proud of how far she's come, but looking back to when she first reached out for help, she didn't think she could call the crisis line, but now she says she should have.
I think it's important to call crisis lines. Don't judge yourself and think that my crisis isn't a crisis because somebody else might be more in trouble. You're important, so you should call.
According to the Nova Scotia Occupational Therapy Regulator, there are just over 800 registered occupational therapists in the province. Of those, a little over 200 say they work in mental health. Alex Guy, CBC News, Dartmouth.
I think that's Dartmouth.
It's
through
thick
the
out
fog.
there, isn't it?
Ryan's up next with his full weather forecast. We're back in just a few minutes.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, your full weather forecast now, and another mild day today, but that's not going to last, is it?
No, it definitely sounds a bit messier tomorrow.
Yeah, a bit messier, especially in the morning. It's going to be the freezing temperatures, which of course everything's wet out there right now, so we're going to drop below freezing. That's going to make things icy, and then we've got some snow on top of that, and some ice pellets mixed in as well. First, let's have a look at our webcam shot, and yeah, you saw before the break the shot of Dartmouth. Pretty foggy, rainy, drizzly in and around the metro area right now. So it's the fog that's a bit of a hazard for driving this evening, and it's going to be the snow that's the hazard for the morning commute. That's the Armdale roundabout just outside the CBC here. And as we look at the high temperatures today, we did crack 14, Greenwood back towards Kentville, double digits across most of the province, and we were into the teens across northern Cape Breton as well. There are the current temperatures, and you can see that, temps have started to drop already. There are the winds. They have been pretty gusty in from the southwest today, starting to shift to northwest already. They're lighter here, but for now, those winds will kick in and be pretty gusty again tomorrow from the northwest as well. Still hanging on to some gusts in the 30 to 40, 50 kilometer per hour range, Guysborough County and into Cape Breton. There's the front. The snow already starting to mix in with ice pellets for southern New Brunswick, where we had that change to rain earlier. And this is the front that's going to continue to slide through tonight. Here's our Saturday system, which will bring snow mixing to a bit of rain as we move into the afternoon. And yes, temperatures will then rise, fall for Sunday, and then rise again for early next week. It has been an absolute roller coaster ride this week, and that will continue. As we move through tonight into Friday, generally 2 to 5 centimeters for the southern parts of the province, 5 to 10 centimeters for northern areas, the Valley, Cobequid Bay, Hants County, Colchester, Cumberland, Pictou, Antigonish, and into northern Cape Breton. That is going to be our best shot at seeing those totals that do push up closer to 10 centimeters, especially higher terrain areas. Here's the timeline again. That wet weather through this evening into the overnight. There's by 2 a.m. and note those temperatures ticking down. Likely going to be wet snow mixed with ice pellets initially. And then as we move into the tomorrow morning time frame, those temperatures dropping as we move into tomorrow morning. And that's where we'll see that mix over to snow, and yes, that will continue through 6, 7, 8, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. By noon, the mainland's done. Looking at Cape Breton hanging on to some of those flurries even into the early afternoon. Northern Cape Breton possibly even later than that. And as you can see, temperatures will then level off right around the freezing mark for tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures across Cape Breton tomorrow, -1 to -3. Those northwest winds gusting 60 to 70 kilometers per hour. It's 0 to -2 across eastern parts of the mainland. We're anywhere from +1 to -1 through central parts. And note the winds gusting to 60, 70 for Cape Breton, but gusting to 50 across central and western parts of mainland Nova Scotia. Now, for Saturday, the system will spread in. Some flurries Friday night. Snow spreading in through Saturday morning. This is a quick shot. And again, because we're going to be changing to rain, I think it's going to be a wetter snow than the rain on top. So exactly how much is in your driveway by the time we get to Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening, I think for most will be closer to about 5 centimeters. We'll show you that in a second. There are the temperatures for Saturday, 3 to 6 degrees. 1 by Saturday afternoon in Cape Breton, but you folks will rise again. So this is Saturday morning to Sunday morning, but again, for the most part, it's going to be through Saturday evening for Cape Breton. And again, near 5 centimeters, I think, is a pretty safe bet. Some pockets that do push up towards 10 centimeters. Inland higher terrain areas are going to be the best chances for that. And along the Atlantic coastline down into the southwest, I think we're going to be more like 2 to 5 or even possibly less down towards Shelburne County. That system clears away, some lingering flurries in the east on Sunday, and then this system going to be tracking well to our west. We're well into the warm sector with this one, and so rise again. Our temperatures will. Through Monday, 6 degrees by the end of the day. We'll rise all the way into the double digits by Tuesday morning with rain. Then we go all the way back down below the freezing mark for Wednesday and into Thursday of next week. Tom and Amy.
Rise again. I like it. A bit of a Nova Scotia anthem there, Ryan.
Exactly.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you,
guys.
Ryan.
Coming up, Premier Tim Houston explains his decision to restore some funding following budget cut protests.
Premier Tim Houston walked back more than $53 million in budget cuts this week. The move comes after several protests outside Province House.
In an interview that was done on Tuesday, Mr. Houston explained his change of mind. Premier Tim Houston is with us. Sir, a few days ago you seemed steadfast that the budget cuts would remain in place. If they were the right decisions for the province, then why change now?
Yes, we tabled the budget 2 weeks ago, obviously, and we've been hearing from Nova Scotians that they had some concerns about some of the decisions in that budget. And certainly as I've been out listening to Nova Scotians, chatting with them, having kind of rational discussions, and my MLAs fanned out across the province and had rational discussions and came back. And, the message we received was that we got some of the decisions wrong. So I agreed with that. I acknowledge that. I apologize for that. So we're going to fix some parts of the budget and move forward. But really the challenge, we have significant financial challenges facing this province. We have a huge deficit, and I think Tom, when I step it through and think about kind of what happened, I think in the efforts to address the financial challenges, we maybe moved a little quick, and I would say the budget process got a little too clinical in areas where it needed to be a little more human. So I acknowledge that. We apologize for that, and we're going to fix it, and we're going to move forward.
Some people may say this is democracy, listening to the people, but what about the wisdom of proceeding with budget cuts without fully understanding the impact those cuts would have in the first place?
Yeah, so the budget process is complex. It lasts for months. There's lots of incredible people in the civil service feeding up into that. Of course, you have elected officials as well. So it's a complex process. And, there's $19 billion of spending in this budget. A lot, incredible amounts of spending in healthcare, incredible amounts of spending in education. And then when you make some of these decisions, inevitably when the rubber hits the road and you have a chance to kind of really think it through, some of them, we just got some of them wrong, and that's not a good thing, but it's one of those things. We're trying to do the best we can. Everybody's trying to do the best we can, and when you know that something's wrong, you got to fix it. So we have a deficit. The announcement today will make the deficit even bigger, and there's a risk to that too. But I think at the same time, Nova Scotians spoke loudly and clearly that they wanted us to do more to support people who, in vulnerable situations, people, living with a disability, seniors, seeking, in some cases, seeking higher education. So we heard the message. Those are priorities for Nova Scotians. They're priorities for us too, as human beings, and Nova Scotians as well. So we've made that adjustment today, and we'll move forward, and I think we can move forward in a better way.
Okay, you said you heard from your MLAs. How much pushback did you get from your caucus on all of this?
Well, you get a mix. People have different opinions, right? There are certainly, I got lots of messages from people saying it's time for government to rein their spending in. We can only do what we can afford. Hold the line. I certainly had some of that. Definitely had a lot of people, and I would say a lot of younger people who were, kind of reaching out and saying, please don't raise the taxes. I know you're trying to deal with a number of different, circumstances, but please don't raise the taxes. So I know that. And then, when you get a chance to get, in your community and talk to people and kind of sit down and they can walk through what the impact of a decision is on them, some of those discussions, we just said, that's not going to work. And I kind of have a policy that I got to be able to put my hand on my heart and say we're doing the right thing. And in some of these, I couldn't do that, so we had to make the adjustment. And now I can put my hand on my heart and say we're doing right by them and right by Nova Scotians, and we'll just move forward from here.
And so, what would you change about the budget process going forward?
I think one of the things this time is with the financial challenges that we have, and they're significant, massive deficit last year, massive deficit this year. I think we didn't really engage Nova Scotians in that part of the discussion early enough so that they really understood the situation we're in. So then when we made adjustments, they were kind of like, why is that necessary? So there's a broader discussion, because really the hard work is in front of this province. We have a deficit. We have to address that. We have incredible opportunities in defense, in energy, in supporting companies that are here to grow. But that's the hard work. We have to grow our economy. We can't always be kind of managing decline and kind of having discussions about what to cut or what not to cut. That's no fun. Nobody wants that. We have to grow the economy so there's more. And when there's more for everybody, when everybody does better, then everybody does better. And I'm excited about the opportunities, but this has been a challenging process. We're in a difficult time. There's no question.
You alluded to the cuts seemingly coming out of the blue for a lot of people, a lot of groups that complained that they weren't even consulted. How much of these cuts were being steered directly from your office?
No, there's a process that comes up. I mean, obviously at the department level, they look at the programs that are happening there, look at the grants, look at what we are investing, because some of these were program adjustments too, and I think that's what we need to be clear on. We're like the arts would be a good example. We're Nova Scotians. We love the arts and we love it. We value it. We're actually investing as Nova Scotians $66 million in that sector. Now that number in 2021, when I first became Premier, was more like $50 million. So it is going up, because when we have more, we'll do more again. But I mean, it was a little higher last year. So I think it's all relative. But to answer your question, I mean, there's a lot of feedback into the process of what government is actually investing in, what's government doing, because government should do what it can, but there are limits to what government can do. So they're just difficult discussions.
Mm-hmm. You talked about departmental involvement there. I don't understand why then some of your ministers seemed so confused about the cuts that were being made if they were being made in the department, as you suggest, and not in the Premier's office.
Yeah, no, I think there's issues where things are across departments, and certainly some of the grants that are out there for Nova Scotians, grants are even handled in a different department that is not. So some of the grants for African Nova Scotia affairs might be through a different department in communities culture. So there's a lesson to be learned on the communication. But we all want to support Nova Scotians. We all want to do what's best for Nova Scotians. And today, it is a moment to kind of reflect and say we got that wrong. We're going to fix that. That's what's the right thing to do. So we'll do that today. Mm-hmm. We'll reflect on the process. There's no question about that. We're going to take this away and try to learn some lessons about engaging Nova Scotians more thoroughly, earlier probably.
Okay, and you mentioned there the arts. You did not restore funding to the arts groups today. The argument has been made, and you're talking about trying to grow the economy, that arts and culture are good for the economy. That's why people come to Nova Scotia, spend tourism dollars and that kind of thing. Why not restore funding to them?
So the investment, there's a significant investment now, it's $66 million. So when people talk about the cuts, they're talking about some of the reductions. Some programs were a little higher last year. We had a different financial situation last year. And actually, sometimes you hear people talk about additional appropriations. So some of the investments over the last couple of years in that sector were additional appropriations. When we could do more, we did more, and there was different examples of that. The Chester Playhouse had a fire, so we responded to that through an additional appropriation. Wasn't planned by anyone, but we could be there to help, so we were. So I think the main thing is the investment over time is going up. $66 million. That compares, if you look back to when I first became Premier in 2021, that's a significant investment from that time. So we want to do more. We grow our economy. We have more. There'll be more for everyone. Then we can invest more, and that's the bottom line. But there's hard work to be done to address the financial challenges that we face right now. This is not abstract. It's not something that might happen. We actually have a significant deficit, and it got a little bigger today. So we have to grow the economy. I'll take the risk of the deficit because I believe in the future of this province, and I'll work very hard to make sure we get that economy going so we can do more for everyone. But still a significant investment in the arts, and we value them and we love them. We want them to grow. It's part of who we are as Nova Scotians.
Okay,
so
just before I let you go, you mentioned the province still in a bad way financially, the deficit growing today. And your finance minister has said there are bigger cuts coming next year. And your revenue-generating projects, things like wind or other resources, could be years coming online. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, no, so we're constantly looking at what government is spending on, and so we have a fiscal plan that goes out 4 years for sure. We're looking at the expenses and what government can do. But look, this year alone, we have right now a bid process open on the offshore oil and gas. We're putting a lot of effort in to make sure we get some attraction there. We'll see how that goes. I'm optimistic, but who knows? We also have opportunities in wind. And some of these things, and when you think about it, might be a little while before the energy flows. But let's just say, for example, that the bidding process on the offshore oil and gas is successful. Well, even though that product won't flow for a couple of years, that company probably going to open an office right away, probably going to hire a few people, start to hire different services. So the economic activity grows. That's the positive momentum. So we're on a path. It's not an easy path, and it's not a short path, but it's a path. And we know what to do. And often I speak to other premiers who have similar deficits or worse. and they kind of say, what are we going to do? Well, we actually know in Nova Scotia what to do because we have incredible opportunity through natural resources, through our opportunities, through our people generating stuff. So we're on the path. And what I would say to Nova Scotians is we understand we need to control the spending, and it's difficult to do. There's people can react when you do that. We've seen that, but we also know we need to grow the revenues, not by taxing people more, but actually generating economic activity. So we're trying to find that spot. You know, I accept that responsibility of finding that spot. Today was about finding that spot a little closer on the needs of the most vulnerable and supporting them. So we have to do that when we see it needs to be done.
Okay, one final question. Do you have any regrets today looking back on decisions that you've made in previous years, be it reducing taxes or lifting tolls off bridge, that kind of thing, that might have set the table differently for the economic times that we're in now?
Look, I'm always assessing and reassessing and reflecting and soul searching. It's just who we are, right? But you have to think about the decisions we made to put more money in the pockets of people in the middle of serious financial crisis, really. Raising inflation, gas is going up, power is going up, so people are struggling. And I believe that when you leave money in the hands of people, they know what to do with it a little better than government in most cases. But I'm certainly hearing from a lot of young people who are struggling, and they say, please don't raise the taxes. It makes a difference to me. Or please, thank you for taking the tolls off because I live in Fairview and I work on the other side, and now I can go to work and not worry about that part of my expenses, or I can visit somebody at the hospital. So I think what we've tried to do is support people through these financial crisis and pressure that they're under. So you can always look back and second guess, but that money that didn't get collected by the government was left in the hands of Nova Scotians, and I think they needed that too.
All right, Premier Tim Houston, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Coming up, war in the Middle East continues to escalate as airstrikes on Lebanon expand, displacing thousands of people.
And as the war drags on, Canadian farmers raise concerns over how it will impact local food production. Welcome back. With the world now facing the largest oil supply disruption in the history of the global market and oil prices surging again above $100 US a barrel, Iran is making it clear it will continue to choke off the Strait of Hormuz and target oil facilities across the Gulf region until US and Israeli airstrikes stop.
That defiant first message said to be from the Iran's new supreme leader. David Common has details from Amman, Jordan.
Iranian state TV read a message today they say came from the new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei. It was not his voice. He was not seen in this. They read it. And that will fuel speculation about his well-being, his health, because he was purportedly struck in an airstrike, one that killed his father, his wife, his sister, and a number of in-laws and other top officials. There will be questions about how he is doing, if he is in fact alive. But the message was clear. It was one of defiance, saying that the closure of the Strait of Hormuz would be a way to resist the enemy. The Khamenei message also said that they want friendly relations with their neighbors, but then went on to say that they would continue their attacks on Gulf states. And there have been a number of such attacks in the past 24 hours, certainly on ships and other vessels passing through or near the Strait of Hormuz. One, an oil tanker, burst into flames after Iran says it drove a boat drone filled with explosives into the tanker, forcing it to be evacuated. Two other vessels also hit, and more could still be after more than 13 vessels have been struck since the start of this conflict. Oil depots in both Bahrain and Oman also targeted by Iranian drones. All of this an attempt to put pressure on the Trump administration because this is a sensitive point for them. Donald Trump came to power as president saying he would bring costs down for Americans, including bringing fuel costs down. This is doing the opposite, with fuel unable to flow at the same levels out of the Middle East, particularly those Gulf countries, and particularly through the Strait of Hormuz. There are questions about how much longer this war will last. David Common, CBC News, Amman, Jordan.
Israel has launched an intense new bombardment on Lebanon and ordered thousands more Lebanese residents to flee its expanded strike zones. The latest offensive comes after Iranian-backed militant group Hezbollah's latest rocket fire on Israel, the largest since the war began. The CBC's Susan Ormiston reports from a Beirut suburb where one Israeli strike proved deadly.
There was a huge wave of airstrikes over Lebanon last night, many of them here in Beirut. We heard the massive blasts about 2 in the morning, and one of them hit here, the Corniche, a very popular promenade in central Beirut. The target of this particular drone attack was a car here. You can see where one of the rockets landed buried deep in the ground here. It's been covered up this morning. The target was a Hezbollah commander, and Hezbollah has acknowledged that their commander died. A Lebanese security official told our team that there were 3 rockets in all. One of them hit again here right on the pavement, on the walkway along the Corniche. A third didn't explode, so the Lebanese military had to dismantle that ordnance and take it away today. You can see here the ball bearings coming out of the rocket, which pierced this garbage can, showing the force. 8 people died here. At least 31 were injured. It's not clear yet who they were, whether perhaps they were some of the refugees who often sleep along this Corniche at night, or whether they were connected to the targeted car. What has startled and shaken Lebanese is that this is a very popular spot for walking along the seaside and very close to many international hotels, including the one we're staying up on the hill. There was a huge line of ambulances and security cars here last night. We could see them. There are fears that this signals this war is going to continue and get tougher every day. Israel says it will continue to pound Hezbollah till the end, and Hezbollah has shown so far no sign of reducing its rockets flying into northern Israel. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Beirut.
The Iran war's impact on the price of oil is in the spotlight right now, but another cost crisis resulting from the war is looming for farmers, the cost of fertilizer. The CBC's Alexander Silberman has that story.
A lot of added stress coming in the seeding, which no one wants.
With spring planting just weeks away, Cody Nagy is alarmed by skyrocketing fertilizer costs for his Saskatchewan farm.
Quite a bit of sticker shock when I'd heard the price.
The expense of critical nutrients needed to grow food pushed up as much as 60% as the Iran war cuts off supply chains.
Completely out of our control, which is even more frustrating.
Fuel prices are up, fertilizer's up. How much more pressure can producers take?
It's everywhere we look, there's stress, and it seems like that's the going trend lately.
Canadian farmers are feeling the pinch of the conflict in the Middle East. A significant amount of global fertilizer trade passes through the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point shut down after Iran said it would set fire to any ships attempting to pass through.
A lot of farmers had been putting off making fertilizer commitments because of their own challenging financial position. And this is just going to take a tough situation and make it much, much worse.
Even though Canada produces its own nitrogen-based fertilizer, buyers here are still hit by the surge in global prices.
Spike in wheat, canola, corn, soybeans, the major crops, that may offset some of these fertilizer or these input cost spikes. But if we don't get that spike in prices, it's going to be a tough year.
Nagy is now getting ready to plant his crops, thankful to have enough fertilizer in storage bins for the spring, but worried about the fall.
Margins are tight. They're going to be tighter next year if this persists.
The longer the war continues, producers could be forced to put reduced fertilizer into the ground, but fewer nutrients will ultimately mean less food from an industry shaken by volatility. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, near Ogama, Saskatchewan.
Police say a male suspect is dead after an attack at a synagogue near Detroit, Michigan. Authorities say the suspect was killed in a confrontation with security officers after ramming his vehicle through the doors and down a hallway of the synagogue in West Bloomfield. One security guard was hit by the car and injured, but no one else was hurt. Investigators are still working to identify the suspect and a possible motive for the attack. Temple Israel is the largest Reform synagogue in the U.S. The incident comes amid heightened security at Jewish facilities since the U.S. and Israel launched the war with Iran.
King Charles has reportedly expressed concern about the separatist push in Alberta and its potential impact on treaty relations. That's according to a Grand Chief from Canada. He said the issue came up during a meeting at Buckingham Palace with Treaty 6 Indigenous leaders. The CBC's Anna Cunningham has more from London.
Deportations and transfers started shortly before the full-scale invasion. 4 years later, 80% of these children have not returned. Many parents, legal guardians, or relatives are still looking for them.
Hi, I'm Steve Sutherland in Sydney. If you want to know what's happening in Cape Breton Island or what's important to the people who live here, join me for Information Morning Cape Breton. News, views, interviews, live reports, reporters on the scene on matters of politics, art, community, current affairs. If it's being talked about in Cape Breton, we're talking about it on Information Morning. Every weekday morning from 6 to 8:37 on CBC Radio 1.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, welcome back, and apologies for the technical issues with the piece there before the break, working some of the gremlins out of the system there.
It happens too.
Yeah,
It happens.
TV.
Just means more time to talk about the weather.
Well,
so
yeah,
There's a lot to talk
Let's
about.
talk about it. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
There is. Before we get to that, though, we have to show the viewer picture of the day. Given our condensed shows the last couple of nights due to the Paralympics, we haven't been able to show pictures. So the inbox has been filling up. And you remember, it's hard to remember back to earlier in the week when we had 20-degree temperatures.
Yes.
I
And
remember it fondly, actually.
Yeah, I do too.
Guess what I'm about to show?
Yeah,
People in shorts?
Well, close. Almost as nice as watching people walk around in shorts. We've got the first crocuses of the season.
Bound to happen.
There were actually, I think, 5 or 6 different pictures in the inbox of either crocuses or snowdrops. This one, I had to pick one. Sandra, thank you very much from Middle Sackville. And yes, signs of spring. And we will be holding on to that as we move through tonight and into tomorrow, because we've got more snow on the way. And yeah, the crocuses always get snow on them. We know that. So 5 to 10 centimeters over northern parts of the province tonight. It looks like 2 to 5 centimeters for southern parts of the province. And either way, whether you're in the north or the south, it's going to be enough to make things slick for that Friday morning commute. We've got this pulse of moisture coming in from the west. That will change the showers to a brief period of freezing rain, then ice pellets, then snow. And that's just going to be enough to coat the roads. As those temperatures drop, things are also going to be turning slick and icy. So slow going Friday morning commute. The kids actually starting March break tomorrow, they're off. So perhaps a little bit of good news there in that a little less traffic on the roads. But if you're on the roads, whether there's the buses or not, it is going to be slow going for sure. So do take care. Into the afternoon, we clear out, and we will be looking at temperatures right around the freezing mark for most tomorrow. Those northwest winds gusting to 50 for the mainland, gusting 60 to 70 for Cape Breton. Saturday, by the end of the day, we get up into the 4, 5, and 6 range for the mainland. Cape Breton, you folks probably getting up to about 2 or 3 degrees in the evening. And this is the next system that we'll be tracking in. Near 5 to as much as 10 centimeters for inland higher terrain areas of Nova Scotia. A little less down toward the south and west by the looks of things. And this is the system that we'll track in, and note the mixed terrain here as it does track through, or at least showers and drizzle. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot, just enough to make it heavier to shovel. Will you shovel is the million-dollar question, because we're a little bit on the plus side on Sunday, and then whatever snow falls gets obliterated early next week.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I vote for no shovel. We'll see how it goes. All right, there is a sweet and fluffy addition at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Pretty cute. 4 male cheetah cubs are making their first public appearance. They were born in late January to a first-time mom.
They've spent their first few months bonding in a private behind-the-scenes den at the facility's conservation center. They're now emerging for guests to catch a glimpse.
They're the first of their kind born at the park in 6 years.
They are
Very
beauties.
nice.
Yeah, they are.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.